working through this Crop Progress Tuesday. Mark Oppel, thanks for joining us. We are joined by our good friends at Allendale. Rich Nelson joining us by phone here from his offices there and watching this grain and livestock trade, getting your thoughts on both of these here. Rich, first of all, in the grain trade, corn, we are pretty well on schedule here. The Crop Progress showing us 6% planted, 9% the average. But again, it's, mid-April, not mid-May. Down about 3 cents here on the day as we see cotton progress 8%, sorghum 21, other crops or rice at 55. That's a way ahead, by the way. And oat seeding 45% in the ground. Normally we're 52. But back to corn and the corn futures trade here, and lower by 3 to 4 cents here during the morning session. Your thoughts in corn?
We are seeing a little bit of profit taking here after seeing this market rally up. What's this been? A good 10, 15 cents these past 2 or 3 weeks. So we are having a small step back. We certainly do expect these delayed planting issues to be a much bigger issue for the market to look at here in maybe 2 weeks' time. But like you mentioned, maybe it's just a little early to get too excited about things here just yet.
But on the downside here, December 386.25 at the low here today. Would you want to see 385, 384 hold in here, or is it that all that important just yet?
I would guess probably on that December contract, that 385 mark is something to watch here. On the December contract, we've only had maybe about a 12, 13 cent rally off those lows. So take half off this rally, and I think that's a realistic support point for us. And
looking at the soybean trade then, while we were looking at an R, again, a 10, 11 cent decline in here, back to near lows of the day. What do you make of the soybean performance here today?
And I should say it's pretty valid considering the fact that we're now realizing, like we talked about this morning, what those NOPA domestic crush numbers on the soybean side, that perhaps we're going to see USDA cut back their crush estimates by, we're saying, 10 to 20 million bushels. Could be a little more here in 2 or 3 months' time.
Yeah, so again, the market's going to react and, kind of adjust if indeed those are the numbers. Speaking of that, the Rich mentioning the NOPA crush number, 153 million bushels yesterday. Trade looking for what, 158, 159 was what the average trade estimate was?
I believe it was, 156 and change, but no doubt 2 months in a row of disappointing numbers from that.
Now, speaking of that disappointment here, Rich, let's take a look at the wheat before we take a break in here. The lowest here in over a week's time, kind of losing all the ground yesterday that it fought to get all last week.
That sure is right. And definitely on the wheat side, we can argue about these old crop supplies still as a large overhang for this market, but not seeing any real big support yet from this delayed planting issue on spring wheat, and that probably will continue for about the next 2 weeks on the spring wheat side here.
Exactly. Now, we're a penny higher, Kansas City, Minneapolis even higher here with that delay. You're talking about 7 to 8 cents higher there. Hearing of some standing water, in fact, in parts of the Dakotas and Minnesota fields.
That sure is right. And as far as the trades focus on the other side, the hard red crops, the soft red crops over on the winter wheat discussion, on that side you can point out they have seen some good rains in the past few weeks, certainly recharging some soil moisture concerns. And as far as that goes, maybe that's offsetting the spring wheat concerns right now.
Very good. We'll take a break in here, come back and see what the livestock trade, how things have changed. Then there have been some changes from the open here. Rich Nelson continues after this. And as promised, Rich Nelson rejoining us here from our friends at Allendale. Now looking at the livestock trade. Rich, we did see talk about a turnaround Tuesday. Maybe folks looking at that in the grain trade. We are seeing it in cattle, but no surprise. We've been higher 8 sessions in a row.
It sure is right, and especially yesterday's push to brand new contract highs was brought in with open interest. The number of people, new contracts that are entering the market and holding them, open interest jumped 4,900 contracts yesterday, so still very strong. So we did put in new highs again here today. Very strong trade. Maybe a slight little setback as far as these last few minutes, though.
Yeah, a little bit of a pullback here. Still higher. April, June, and August cattle right now are all higher on the day. Look at the feeder cattle, and then we're going to get your thoughts here in the hog trade. Feeder cattle still lower, although that August contract sticking out there just a little bit higher by 3 points, May down 2 points. points. But in the hog trade here, you were talking about that June has reached new lows for this move and lowest since last fall.
That sure is right. Since October 25th for the June contract, this market has seen some problems on the cash hog end of things here. 17 straight days of losses for cash hogs. That is concerning. On the positive side, as we noted before, at some point over the next couple of weeks, we do think this market will change. The question, obviously, is when. This warm weather is yet not stimulating a lot of interest for outdoor grilling season yet for May.
Yeah, and you could ask every day for the last week or so, where's support going to be? And you might have said 72, 71, and now we're at 70, 62 for the low. But I'm still going to ask on June, where could we see some stability in here? Is 70 a number?
I think it's probably, in my opinion, maybe more of a timing issue than actual price. On the charts, we're not looking for support really now, and so getting back to that 69.5 range or so. As far as the timing issue, like you mentioned, this is probably an issue where let's get rid of this cool temp issue for the weekend ahead, and maybe warm temps next week. That will probably restart some buyer interest for that month of May featuring.
Very good. Rich, thanks for your time and information today. As always, we look forward to visiting with you in the morning. Get things started for a Wednesday.
Great. Look forward to it.
We do too. Rich Nelson from Allendale out of McHenry, Illinois. As promised, here are the numbers. These are live quotes now from the CME Group, live cattle, feeder cattle, and hog futures. Live cattle futures mostly higher. The nearby April, June, and August are higher. Deferred October out in the fall, just down about 10 points. But let's get back to the nearby April, up 45, 126.88. More active is June. It is up 34 right now. June cattle, 115.92. The high, though, today, a dollar above that at 116.90. So it's come a dollar off of that early high. Check feeder cattle. Feeder cattle still under some pressure here. That May contract after a high today, 141.88, is now at 140.13. That's down 2 points. So off of that low, or off that early high here as well. We look at the hog trade, hog futures right now, and the futures there lower once again, as he just mentioned. This is a June contract, the lowest since October 25th of last fall. Right now, June hogs down $1.20 at 71.15. And we take a look at the cash hog trade here on the day. We haven't had an update yet from USDA. We'll be talking next hour with Chris Summers from USDA, based out of Des Moines, Iowa, for an update in the hog trade. But right now, the national average going into the day, 55.5 on the carcass trade, $45 for cash prices. Keep an eye on that.
Yeah, you got that mid-morning update coming out.
Just coming out here in a few minutes. Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Markets Editor Mark Oppold.